Welcome back, FamilyAffaires.com expert contributor, Dr. Dan Gottlieb. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Dr. Dan, today I'd like to discuss personal finances and relationships. We just added this topic to our website because our members had reached out to us and they wanted more information. So what I want to talk about today is normally divorces usually are really caused by finance issues. Many divorces are caused by finance issues. So I'd like for you to discuss today and give some tips to our audience about how couples can go about dealing with finances and protect their relationships. So, I would give advice now to young couples getting married, or really any couple who's getting married at any age. That should be a main discussion, because we all, as we've discussed in one of our videos, we all have different ideas about money, different relationships, how to spend it, how to save it,
and what it means
right,
to us.
Yes. So what advice would you give to couples who are just getting into a committed relationship on how to deal with this topic?
Roseanne, I'll give you the ideal. I'd love to see couples, before they get involved, to talk about money. I'd love to have them talk about sex and sexuality. I'd love to have them talk about intimacy, life and death. I'd like them to talk about fidelity and what that means in this era of internet relationships and internet intimacy. I'd love to have them have all those discussions first. Is it going to happen? No, I think you're more likely to have the discussion about money, but even so, I want to talk about also what happens when the issue comes up. And we talked about in the previous discussion about money, about how it represents different things to different people. For some it's power, for some it's security. For many, the acquisition of money holds with it the delusion of well-being or happiness.
And security.
Right, so if we acquire enough, then there will be a there, as the Dalai Lama famously said once. He said, we're happier when we want what we have rather than when we have what we want. So we need to have those discussions, and you have to have the discussion with yourself. What does money really mean to you, and why do you want it? What does it represent? What does its acquisition represent? What does its loss represent? So, okay, so that's it. Go on.
Let's go back and talk about when there is a change. You're in a relationship, and for instance, we just went through probably one of the biggest recessions we've ever had here in the United States. And really, there were job losses that nobody would have ever imagined. And that changed a lot of relationships, and it caused a lot of divorces. So how could couples navigate their way through these unforeseen issues with finances, with money?
First, when any conflict comes up, it's rarely about the thing. It's almost always about what the thing represents. And I'm not just talking about the representational aspects of money. I'm talking about the affect behind money. So when you feel whatever you feel in a discussion about money, that's the issue that needs to be talked about. You feel anxiety, you feel anger, you feel defensiveness. That's what you're getting stuck on. Okay. It's the emotions.
So you're relating the issue to the emotion that it's causing.
Exactly. And the emotion is where you get stuck, and it's the emotion that needs to be understood by both of you. It needs to be respected by both of you. And it helps the marriage. It helps the relationship. It helps with intimacy. And, if you go through adversity, and everybody goes through adversity, if you go through it pulling the oar in the same direction, it's going to happen with financial difficulties too. You're going to pull the oar in the same direction. It's about the quality of the relationship, the devotion to the relationship and one another, the commitment, the respect, and the love. Love as in generous love, as in selfless love, as in love without expectations. I mean, that's the ideal. I mean, you have that formula in place, or relatively in place. You're going to get through it. You're going to get through it together.
So what I would say from this conversation and from your great advice is that if you are going to have the discussion, you need to understand what money represents to your partner.
Right.
And respect that and acknowledge it.
Right.
And then down the road, if anything happens, as long as you have all of these other things for your partner, love, respect, you'll get through it. You'll weather the storm.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.